Hello, and how do you do? First of all, I'd like to thank you to take your time to watch my video. I wish to come to YouTube and talk about my difficulties quite a few years ago, but I found it's difficult to bring myself to talk to the publics. My name's Anna Zheng. I came from a small town in Jiangsu, about 400 kilometers west from Shanghai. I was born in 15th January 1964. In 1987 November, I came to England. Since then, I lived in England and became a UK citizen. I am a British Chinese. I wish to tell you what I want to tell you is about the spy chips implant by Hong Kong dentist in my upper jaw. It was implanted in 2008. In 2008, 6 years ago. In 2008, 21st October, I was in Hong Kong renewing my re-enter visa to China. In the morning, I visited the Chinese Visa Center, and in the afternoon I visited the Hong Kong Dental Clinic. The place is located at number 99 Queen's Road Central. It's placed at 19th floor as 1901 to 1903, 1912 to 1913. The clinic called the Dental Implant and the Maxillofacial Center, because 1 month ago in September 2008, I had the front tooth removed by a Shanghai dentist. So I wanted to be double checked whether the Shanghai dentist did the work properly. Mr. Alfred Liu, that is Hong Kong dentist, said it needed to be a small cut in order to check if there was any infection left or a small broken bone inside the root. Consider it's a small cut, so I agreed, but Mr. Liu used the opportunity to implant a pair of spy chips in my maxilla upjaw. Mr. Alfred Liu used this opportunity to cut a large open close four teeth. He used a plier to remove some of my bones above my front tooth so that he could let the spy chips went through and implant the chips into my maxilla upjaw. There were about 5 nurses in the room. My hand was covered tightly under the blanket. I could feel the force of the pressure when the spy chips was implanted and pushed into my upjaw maxilla. I knew the operation was completely wrong. I counted when Mr. Alfred Liu stitched the cut. It was about 4 stitches. After operation, I asked Mr. Liu why he pressed hard and broke my bone. He said because there was infection, he must press and peel off the tissues. I asked why not use a knife to remove the infection. He answered the crush and peel off method was a better way of cleaning the infection. I was deeply upset. I knew I was ambushed. 4 months later, in March 2009, I came back to UK in London. I immediately went to see the dentist. One of them suggested me to go to take a CT image. So I went and took a CT image. I took a CT image at number 2 Devonshire Place in London, postcode W1G. The CT image showed the bone above my front tooth was broken, and through the broken bone there were 2 metal strings implanted in my maxilla upjaw. But something strange happened. I went to visit many London dentists, but none of them are willing to discuss the matter with me. They refuse to discuss the CT image with me, and they don't tell me what's the image exactly about. One of them said, because a Chinese dentist did that, I have to ask a Chinese dentist to explain. And the other to suggest me go to see a surgical dentist and to discuss the matters. So I went to the surgical dentist at number 68 West Hill, London, postcode SW18 1RU. Again, the surgical doctor refused to discuss the CT image. She said she could cut and remove any infection inside the above my front tooth. And if she saw a spy chips, she would do nothing, just stitch up and close up. I was disappointed. If there was a spy chips, I wish it to be removed, not just leave as it is. I wrote to local MP Mr. Greg Hans. Mr. Hans forwarded my letter to the Foreign Office. The Foreign Office replied, said they only dealing with Chinese government for matter like Falun Gong, and they never heard about the spy chips being implanted into the teeth or in the upjaw, so they don't know how to help me. I wrote to London Mayor Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson replied. He said he's mainly dealing with London traffics, and he's not dealing with the matters like spy chips or anything like that. He suggested me to go to the human rights organization. So I went to the human rights organization. They told me they are the research organization. They don't dealing with individual cases. Actually, they were at the location is at St. Pancras. It's called Human Rights Observer Organization. I didn't know what to do. Then meanwhile, I found out I was monitored and followed and watched all the time. Because I can hear the ticking of the chips behind my nose, ticking day and night like a clock. It's a regular ticking, just like a clock. And when that ticking happens, I knew someone at nearby is monitoring the chips in my jaw, and they are sending and receiving the signal from the chips. The ticking of the chip make my face turn red and hot, and it also made me have a headache at the both sides, and turned these areas hair into white. The Hong Kong chip actually was not the first chip the Chinese dentist implanted to me. The first one was implanted by a Nanjing dentist 6 months earlier. Before the Hong Kong chips was actually implanted by the Hong Kong dentist Mr. Alfred Liu. From September 2006 to March 2009, I was living in China. Then soon I realized I was being followed, watched, and watched everywhere I go. In April 2008, I went to Nanjing stomatology hospital. I need to have a treatment for my front teeth, the root canal treatment. The senior dentist, Mr. Ge Jiu-Yu, said he could seal the open end of the root and give me a proper root canal treatment by use MTA to seal the open end of the root. But he used this opportunity to implant the spy chips inside my root, and he deliberately to let the filling go outside of my of the root of my tooth, so that my root of the tooth would not be able to recover or heal by itself. The principle of the root canal treatment is the fillings must be strictly inside within the within the tooth root, and not going outside the tooth root. So I have to the treatment was failed, so I have to get the tooth removed.